a stimulating day filled with learning and reflection. Before proceeding, before proceeding to the tutorial, I would first like to invite Uma on the stage for the briefing of the previous lecture.
Good evening to all. I am Uma, and now I'm going to give a short briefing of the previous lecture titled Nutrition Security 2030 and Vikasit Bharat 2047, which highlighted how India has moved from focusing on the food security to ensure the true nutrition security, while the Green Revolution helped us overcome calorie hunger, hidden hunger. The lack of essential vitamins and minerals still affects a large part of our population. The focus now is on improving the quality of our diets, not just the quantity. Economic growth has reduced undernutrition, but its benefit must reach everyone, which is why programs like Poshan 2.0 and Saksham Anganwadi are also important. Through initiatives such as take-home rations, fortified foods, and awareness campaigns, the government aims to support children, pregnant women, and mothers with better nutrition. One major step forward in rice fortification, since most Indians eat rice daily, enriching it with iron and folic acid and vitamins, which can help to reduce the anemia and improve overall health. Many states are adopting best practices like better packaging, regular quality checks, and local innovations to improve taste and acceptance. As we look ahead, nutrition security remains a cornerstone for achieving the healthy and developed India by 2047. Let's remember the key messages: eat right, eat fortified, and work together for nourished and stronger nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Uma. After three insightful lectures, we now move on to a more interactive part of today's schedule, a classroom discussion on current dietary guidelines worldwide and their role in sustainability and adequate nutrition by Dr. Rapso. I encourage everyone to participate, share your perspectives, raise questions, and connect global evidence with our local realities. I request Dr. Rapso to come to the stage for the tutorial session. Over to you, sir.
So, good afternoon to everyone. I hope you have a very stimulating day of conferences. And to close the second day, of course, we will have some time to discuss on the current dietary guidelines worldwide and their role in sustainability and adequate nutrition. This discussion, in true, should happen after our first two sessions, the two sessions of yesterday. But of course, due to the opening session, this was shifted to this time, and of course, some of the topics I bring here to you have already discussed, not only today, but also yesterday, and with your questions. However, we will have this extra time to have further discussions as you wish with me, and also between you. Please feel free to ask and to interact with me. So anyway, I bring some key ideas regarding this, and of course, please let me know what's your opinion, if you agree, if you disagree, and let's discuss to end this day in the best way possible. So the first key message: the dietary guidelines, as well as the organizations that establish the recommendations, are not homogeneous across regions of the world. I think this we have already discussed and mentioned, not only across the today, but also yesterday. Each country utilizes specific icons to better describe to the public easy ways to follow specific recommendations, including the use of pyramids, plates, and other forms of presenting information. This is what we have seen in the first session of our course. All dietary guidelines are updated within certain periods to ensure that new findings or specific changes are communicated to the public. So this is the relation between the science, the advance of science, the knowledge, and the construction of these guidelines, of these tools to communicate to the populations, to the public in general, how to follow the more adequate diet. The world's population is estimated to come to 9 billion people by 2050, which would incur severe food scarcity and would seriously hamper global food security. This is a main problem, an issue that we must think, because the world population doesn't stop to increase, and the natural resources we have are limited. So we have to find some strategies to feed these people. Or the other possibility is to stop the growing population, but that maybe it's not so easy. So we have an increasing, a non-stoppable increasing population worldwide. So we have to think on strategy, on ways to give them this food security. Realistic options should be established for promoting sustainable agriculture systems, improving nutrition, and achieving food security to end hunger in our nations. So this is obvious, I think, and be always in mind the sustainable development goals that we have, someone related to spiritual, ecological, and people, and of course to make everything to achieve all these goals. Taking this in mind, I would like to open this discussion to all of you who wants to make some comments, some question, to interact with me, with between you. Please, now it's time to discuss about these topics. We have talked in these 2 days in the course, specifically in the two first sessions. The micro, yeah. It can be a comment, not a question. It can be your vision of this what you have talked, what you learn, what you think, what you agree, disagree.
Good
Please feel
afternoon,
free
sir.
to have your feedback. Yes, good afternoon.
Sir, my question is what are the main objectives of dietary guidelines released by different countries?
The objective, I think, and please disagree with me, it's the objectives are all the same. It's to make the populations eat more properly, according with these dietary guidelines that are designed to make people healthy options in their day-to-day life and have high quality of life. And this, of course, differs from region to region because the food and the culture is also different. What we are accustomed to eat, for example, here in India, are some different from other parts of the world. The foods that we have available here are different from those we have, for example, in Portugal, in Spain, in other regions. And one of the main message we want to give to the people is the preference for the consuming of local products. So taking this in mind, I think it's obvious there must be differences between the guidelines because there are differences between these foods, differences between these cultures, but the main goal, the main objective of these tools, these guidelines, is teach the communities, the populations how to eat properly and according with these guidelines, according with the recommendations preconized by entities like World Health Organization, FDA. So that is the common goal of to use and to employ these dietary guidelines.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Good evening, sir. So my question is that what is your point of view in this detox diet, detox side and juice cleanse toxins, flush out toxins?
About this article or which article?
I mean that the diet that is a detox diet that we use for weight loss. Is it a, what's your point of view on that topic?
The diet for weight loss.
Yes, detox diet, detox.
Detox.
Yeah.
I have difficult in to explain what is a detox diet because, in my opinion, there isn't a detox diet. The foods are not shouldn't be seen like that. This is a terminology that I really hate for the foods when we talk about detox foods, detox juices are very in how can I say, in fashion, but I don't see foods as detox or to intake some specific food to purify or to detox the body, our organism. Of course, we have some specific foods that help in our digestion that you have already studied. You have the probiotics that empower our microbiota, but give that power to the foods and namely the foods as the detox power. I have difficulties to make that name. And what is a detox diet? I don't know what is a detox diet.
Basically, sir, the diet in which we reduce, basically, juices are present, basically, nourishment juice, and we do a fasting, like 8 hour fasting properly, and then we have to live on liquid diet, basically.
Yes, but if you will only take your diet with that juice, probably, of course, it depends what the content of the juice is, and we have to see, analyze in detail what are the juices, but probably you have another kind of deficiencies, okay? If you can detoxify, as you call, from some things, maybe you have some problems with other elements. So you have to analyze the diet as a whole, and we must be careful. We must be careful, especially when communicate to the population, and when we communicate to the population as a detoxifying food or detoxifying diet, the message can be not very well interpreted by the population. So that's one of the reasons I don't really like I don't really like that terminology. Of course, some of that elements of that juices of that food can be good options to be incorporated in a diet, for example, to lose weight or with any specific goal. But call them as detoxifying or detoxifying power, in my opinion, it's too much. It's too
So,
much.
as I previously working as a company where I give the detox day, like full day as a detox day, where I plan something full liquid diet, and I see the results by doing this. The patient lose their weight.
Yes, but detoxifying, what is the meaning of detoxifying? Eliminate toxins. And the foods really can eliminate toxins by itself?
Yeah, it can be.
I'm not so sure of that. That is another topic that should deserve our attention. But most of them by itself and by its diets, they are not so powerful as we pass through or as we communicate to the population, and we must be very careful with that, because the interpretation of the population sometimes, or unfortunately most of the times, are not exactly what we professional health professionals want. So we have to be very careful in the use of terminologies. Yes? And in my opinion, that terminology, detoxifying foods, detoxifying diet, people will think that they can make everything and then will drink that detoxifying food or joy and everything is fine. And as you know, is not so like that.
Thank you
Okay,
so much, sir.
they can be interesting options to be incorporated, but not only for themselves are everything or have that power of detoxifying everything not so good that the population will make in other meals by intake other foods. That is why I'm very careful in the using that terms.
Thank you so, sir.
Thank you for your question.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
So, what challenges do government face in your country while enforcing the dietary guidelines? Like here in India, we have certain taboos and cultural, socio-economic factors which hinder their enforcement of the dietary guidelines. So, I want to know that in your country, what are the challenges that government face while enforcing the dietary guidelines?
In my country, the main challenge is to have the health professionals to communicate with the population and to explain the guidelines, because this is not only to include the pyramid or the plate, and the population will learn for themselves the recommendations. It is very important to have since the school, the children, to be explained from, of course, someone that has the specific information on that, how to learn what is preconized in these guidelines. That is very important. The health professionals being close to the communities to learn this. And of course, I believe that in your country you have biggest challenge, because of course it's a bigger bigger country, have more different cultures. The challenge, I believe, it's even bigger. In Portugal, we use the Mediterranean diet pyramid and also the plate, similar to my plate but more complete. Are the main tools we employ to teach the population, even children in schools, but not only children, also adults and elder people. It is important to have these sessions with them. But the main problem is to have the health professionals in the great number close to the populations to make this bridge between the knowledge and the populations, to pass this message, communicate this message in the right way to the populations.
Thank you, sir.
This is the biggest challenge I find.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, in India, when we grow crops, it require a lot of resources such as power for irrigation and land for growing crops. So, how could we make the agriculture system sustainable?
How can I make the agriculture system sustainable? Regarding the what? The irrigation?
Sir, like a lot of electricity is required for irrigating the fields, and a lot of land is required for crops. So, how can we make agriculture system sustainable? That we get a good amount of crops also, and less amount of resources are required to produce them.
And what is the relation? I understand what you say, but I'm just trying to understand what is the question.
Uh, so, like for growing crops,
Yes.
we require power to irrigate the fields, like motors to irrigate the fields. So that require a lot of energy to do, and
Yes.
it creates pollution also. Like
Yeah.
fuel create pollution. So how can we create the agriculture system more sustainable?
Alternative sources of energy. That it's why we are working on renewable sources of energy. That is also another hot topic today. But I was trying to understand what was the relationship between your question and the dietary guidelines. Of course, you have to think. You have to think on that because if we need a lot of energy, and that is not related with we are talking here with sustainability. So this is one of the challenges to find alternative sources of energy. Of course, we have to think on that, and it is related with sustainability. That is true. That is true. I agree.
Thank you, sir.
So my question is about
Uh,
fortification and supplementation. So which one is best and why?
It depends on the situation. It depends on the situation. Fortification for a mass, as we have the explanation in the previous session, we have to think is that not for itself. Neither fortification or supplementation can substitute or can replace a normal diet. They are for specific situations and with a specific goal and must be analyzed in each context. I think that the previous session we have that clarification, especially regarding the
But
fortification.
we have supplementation for many more things rather than having biofortification or fortification for other things.
Yes.
Why we are not going in this field ahead? Like why we are not doing fortification for vitamin D and rest everything?
Because perhaps it's not needed. We have to think that a normal. We are talking when we talk about dietary guidelines. We are talking about healthy people that have access to the all the foods. We just are here to learning people how to make their choices regarding food healthier. Okay, so these guidelines. This is one of the main important message and key points I want to pass to you is this is not for diseases, this is not for people that any special requirement, this is for healthy population. When you are talking for some specific groups, even for pregnant women, even for children in some age or that suffer from any specific disease, that is different and they are not in this frame. Okay, this is for healthy people. Of course, food supplementation is very, very important, and also biofortification, fortification in some specific context, specific situations. Okay, and for example, the pregnant women, it's very important to folic acid, but they are not inside here in these guidelines. Okay, this is very important to be noted when we are talking about dietary guidelines and these tools are directed to healthy population, general population, okay? And not that specific cases, of course, which deserve our attention and our analysis, but it depends from region to region, country to country, group by each group of the population, and of course, after that analysis, we see if we have to because naturally we don't need food supplementation or fortification if we are healthy. If we make healthier food choices according to these guidelines, we don't need food supplementation. We don't need fortification. But of course, in sometimes of our life cycle and sometimes in our physiological situation or any disease or for any circumstance, we will need this supplementation. Okay, and that must be analyzed in that time. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. My
Good
question
afternoon.
is how can we balance food production with environmental production and
Sorry. How can you
sustainability?
balance?
How can we balance food
Yes.
production with environmental protection and sustainability?
That is an interesting question that encompasses all what we have talked. Anyone wants to answer or give an idea about this to balance the food production, the environment, and the needs of the population? Is that? your question, right?
Sustainability.
Yeah, sustainability. How can we harmonize all of these pillars? I think this just summarizes what we have been talking until this moment. Is it easy? What do you think? Anyone can? Your colleague? This is a very interesting question. How to harmonize
Uh,
food
we,
production, food products, and sustainability.
we can do so by making the food processing procedure more sustainable, like reducing the wastage.
Yes, that's very important. That's a very important point. Reducing the food losses, the food waste. Yes, I agree.
Because one third of the food produced is wasted during the production or during the transportation processes. For example, if we are producing tomatoes and we are not transporting them properly, or it took a time from farm to come to the consumer, then a lot of kilos of tomatoes are destroyed, as matlab, means they are either self decomposed or some due to some insects. So first we should counter that how to reduce the wastage of the food produced and also enhance the processing of the food. So by this, maybe we can.
Yes, that is a good starting point. Reducing the food losses. Of course, we are working to sustainability, and sometimes we are eating more than we need. If we see with attention our dietary needs, sometimes or much of times, most of the people are intake more than the needed. So that is very important. Then the ways of production, and we can see especially the updated version of the Mediterranean environment, the third dimension that we see yesterday, the environmental costs to produce each food group, and we see that the greenhouse gas emissions to produce some kind of foods is totally different of the others. So if we consume more food products that has not so huge impact on the environment, we are contributing also to that sustainability. So, but this concern should be not only from the professionals, from us. We should communicate to the populations and pass this information to the populations to make their choices nowadays, not only concerned with their needs, with their dietary needs, but also with this environmental concern. And if we can communicate well with the population, if the population learn this, of course, it make it easier to achieve the sustainability. Of course, this is not a easy and a short way, but I believe we can achieve it.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So, like, my question is, like, I don't know if you are aware that, but in India, the basic oil which we use for lots of food preparation is palm oil, and it is highly in saturated fats.
Yes, yes.
So, do you think that there might, like, we should inculcate some sort of laws enforcements to minimize the use of palm oil as a source of oil and to replace it with at least sunflower oil?
Yes, that's a good question, but sincerely, I don't know how to answer you. What is,
I mean, like,
I don't
what are your
know.
thoughts on substituting that oil with
Yes,
the
I can
plastic?
say that you should make something to substitute, but I sincerely don't know what is the reality of India regarding the production, regarding that. It is needed to have that understanding to see how to make that substitution, because I can say yes, from the point of view of the composition, I can say you should substitute the palm oil for sunflower oil or even for olive oil. But how to do it? If you say to the population, you must stop to eat this and you must start to eat another thing, you need to know how to do that, because people will not change just for you say. You have to find some strategy to make. But I agree, if you consume too much, or the main oil you use is the
My
palm oil,
perspective
it
is
would
like,
be beneficial to substitute it with sunflower oil, or even, I don't know if here you consume also olive oil, or not so
no, it's
much,
not
not
like
so
feasible
much.
for us. It's way more expensive.
Of course,
And like,
that is one of the problems, and I believe that sunflower is much more expensive also than the palm oil.
uh,
Isn't correct?
yeah, it's expensive compared to the palm oil. But like the snacks which we get here, like around the whole nation,
Yes.
you pick any snack almost, the main source of oil which they'll be using is the palm oil. So what I believe is somewhere or the other in the upcoming 20 to 30 years, the whole population who's consuming these snacks, and I can say almost 80 to 90%, because during high teas or for example any sorts of events, we tend to use these foods items in our cuisines, and that might lead to coronary heart diseases or cardiovascular diseases in the upcoming
Of
generation or in the
course,
whole
has
population.
its consequences. Yes, yes. But the question is how to make the population change it, and
Perhaps
this
the
involves a lot of intervenients, the policymakers, the stakeholders, because what strategy I have to think to reduce the consume, in this case the palm oil, that has this cost that the population is accustomed to consume it, but is accustomed, perhaps the main reason is the price. The main
yes,
reason,
it's the
perhaps,
price.
it's not other reason. So what strategy can I think to reduce the price? For example, the sunflower oil, to make people can choose for sunflower oil and not for palm oil. And this is an interesting work that must be made between of course, the academics, the professionals that will interact with the governments, with the policymakers, with evidence to make perhaps some policies to reduce the cost of production, or to make people have more access in an easy way to other healthier options. And of course, if you make that studies that the high consumption of palm oil during years, it is related with some coronary disease, cardiometabolic diseases, and if you show to the policymakers, to the governments, other populations that don't consume this kind of oil, but consume more prevalent olive oil or sunflower oil, even olive oil as a protective function regarding cardiovascular, cardiometabolic diseases. So maybe with this evidence, you can make the policymakers, the governments, make some practical actions to reduce the price of that healthier options.
So, like for example, in your nation, like, is it way more easy or difficult when you guys try to put on a change onto some sort of food product? For example, if you can take that this palm oil, if you try and approach your government, so do you
I
think that it's
believe
way more
that in
easy?
no country that is easy. I believe that in no country in the world it's easy to make the government take that kind of decisions, and it always take time. In my country, for example, it took very long time until the government decided to tax the sugary drinks and the high fat products, but specific in schools and in health centers. And it took a long, long time. To be honest, that will not be easy and quick. It's a life, I say, yes, but you have to keep trying. You have to keep showing the evidence. It's very important to show the evidence. That is the role of the academy, the researchers, to investigate, to publish the investigations, and with the evidence you go through the governments, the policymakers, and with the perseverance, insistence, long time, maybe you can change the things. But if it's easy or quick, I life, I say. Yes, but I believe that is in Portugal, in India, and in the most countries in the world, never will be easy. But it is our role also as health professionals.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
As I'm very curious about the question is why do people living in more hygienic condition, like clean environment, sometimes end up with vitamin B12 deficiency?
Hygienic conditions.
Yeah.
And sorry, I didn't understand the rest of the question. If the hygienic
How
conditions.
does hygienic condition
Conditions?
affect our natural B12 source?
Of course, they affect from the point of view of food safety. And food safety is within food security, as you already know. We have to have access and the foods available, but they must be safe from the point of view of contamination. So if you don't have the basic and adequate hygienic conditions, the food security is also comprised. So you have to, for the production, for the handling of all the foods, you have to guarantee these hygienic conditions are the most adequate to handle the raw materials, the ingredients along the whole food chain. And that is very, very important. Sometimes when we discuss food security, we forget a little bit the food safety, but food safety is within food security. Food security says that people must have access to the foods, but important to highlight that those foods must be innocuous, must be safe from the point of view free of hazards.
Sir, is it true that hygienic condition affect our natural B12 source? Affected it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So, after the announcement of the International Year of Millets, at least in India, a lot of publicity was given to millet-based foods. And even people who were not taking millets were encouraged to take millets, whether in the form of full meals or snacks. So, what is your opinion on millets? Does Europe even talk about millets? What is your experience and what is your suggestion? Because in India, after we started it off in many institutes as regular meals in the institute cafeteria or canteens, the uptake was very poor. Most people didn't like the taste, or they started feeling hungry immediately after having that. It did not give that fullness, and also the different kinds of millets were not as per the taste across the country. What is your experience and advice too?
Regarding the millets, I can say that I believe that they have much more importance. This is regarding the tradition, the consumption, all of these things, much more relevant and important to here, to you, to India, than for example, in my country, in Portugal, because we have another sources. But of course, if we think on the conflicts that we talked in this morning, Russia and Ukraine is one of the most important suppliers of grains and millets to, I don't know if all the world, but for Europe, yes. And we felt the increase, the very increase the prices of millet products and grains in our market. That was I talking in this morning. Another issue regarding to millets and some kind of grains is the GMOs that we have already talked here and are arriving to the markets, and you have to pay attention to their utilization, to their consumption, because the science doesn't give a clear answer until today about its safe, special mid long term. I don't know if I'm answering directly to your question, but it's something that is a little my opinion of it. Is that okay?
So one more question.
Yes.
After your commentary that you had this paper,
Yes.
Indian Council of Medical Research also made a paper comparing Indian dietary guidelines with these five continents dietary guidelines. I don't know, so if you must have gone through that.
Comparing
the Indian dietary guidelines with the guidelines that you have mentioned in this commentary in this paper.
Yes, yes, no. In this paper, I didn't. That is my question after presenting in the first session, because we choose from each continent one country to kind of represent the continent, the most relevant. And from Asia, I presented the Japanese spin guideline. From India, you told me that you have a kind of very distinct guidelines. You have one, but then it depends. It depends of the region. You have different pyramids. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And they compared Indian guidelines with your paper.
I have not knowledge about Indian guidelines. I'm talking about what you told me yesterday, but I believe that the main goal is the same. It's common. The main goal of these guidelines must be the same. Is a tool to be used by a professional, health professional, to explain the community, the population, how to eat properly, how to take a healthy life from the point of view of their food patterns. That is the main goal, common to all guidelines. And then we have the bridge or the connection with culture. For example, in the Japanese, we have not a pyramid, we have a spin because it's a symbol of the tradition and of the culture of Japanese people. So then can be some adaptations. Some, of course, some food are more characteristics, more traditional ways of prepare the foods, confection methods that will varies from region to region. But the main goal must be the same.
Sir, my one question is there anything that you would advise that we Indians should adopt from the Mediterranean diet or the other diets that you mentioned? Anything that we Indian dietary guidelines should definitely adopt, which we don't right now?
The Indian guidelines that should adopt from these guidelines.
Any of those guidelines, any of those recommendations, is there anything specific that you would say that we should take, Indians should take?
Regarding the recommendations, you are talking about the recommendations. I don't know what you adopt here, but for example, in Portugal, we adopt the recommendations preconized by World Health Organization. And there you have the recommendations for each nutrient, micronutrient, and then of course we have some specification for each group of risk. But for example, that is also preconized in World Health Organization, or even you can consult the FDA from America. But in Portugal, we adopt what is preconized in World Health Organization. I don't know if you have also a table of composition of foods. We have in Portugal even an electronic composition table of composition of foods that you have there the most specific foods from Portugal. It is different if you see my table of composition of foods from Portugal. Of course, it will be different if I will see yours, because this table of food composition it is supposed to reflect the most traditional foods of each country. So this is the reason why in some tables you are looking for one specific food and you don't find it, and you must go to another. And there you have the specifications, the total amount of each nutrient, micronutrient per 100 grams of each food, and then you can use that also.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I want to know that what challenges does people in your country face in implementing rural
The microphone file. Sorry, implementing.
in implementing nutritional campaign among low income or rural population?
The main challenge is the lack of support from the state, because to make that campaigns, we need money, we need human resources, and people will not do it for free, and that is the main challenge. And the government, until very little time ago, didn't realize, didn't see the importance of the nutrition of the food on the health of the people. So if the people is unhealthy, or if it has any issue related to his health, goes to the doctor, to the medicine, not governments. Since I repeat, not now. Now this is changing, but since not very long time ago, this association between the proper nutrition and food to health is not clear for the government. So if this is not clear, why I will invest money in those actions, in those campaigns, in those studies? That is the main challenge. But fortunately, this is changing. This is changing in the last years. Not only as remediate, but also as prevention. It's very important. The role of the nutritionists, the nutrition professionals in preventing a huge amount of diseases and conditions, and contribute to the higher quality of life. This is the main challenge, and I believe not only in my country, in a lot of countries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is, how can guideline be tailored to manage diet-related chronic disease like diabetes and hypertension?
It depends the origin of diabetes or hypertension. Some of that issues can be genetic, and you have to think one thing. Through unhealthy food choices, we will not be aware of every disease. This is something that we can change, that we can handling to our benefit. If we do the things well, we have more probabilities to be healthy, but that doesn't assure nothing. This is only one of the elements that can contribute or not. It depends how we can see to development of some diseases. But there are other factors with much more heavy that we can't control. Genetics, for example, the air we breathe, the fact of being human, that being woman or man, that living in a polluted city or living in a rural area, that factors contribute much more for the development of some diseases, for cancer, for I can say a lot of diseases. Of course, they are also related with nutrition, but nutrition, good and healthy nutrition, will not solve all of this. But of course, if we accomplish this, if we follow these recommendations, we have that probability increased, not suffer from that kind of issues or diseases. But there are other factors that can also contribute. The smoke, for example, if I follow all of these recommendations, but if I smoke 30 cigarettes per day,
Okay, sir. Thank you so much,
this
sir.
is just one element, one variable of the equation, and the good thing, we can manipulate. We can choice, we can make this choice. Other factors we can't, unfortunately, until now, we can change. We can change our parents, our genetic, our um, our sex. So it's this we can make everything to change this, and to increase or decrease the probabilities of being healthy or unhealthy.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Myself, Vijayini Bihari. So I want to ask the dietary guidelines state that we should consume more plant products.
But this will also have a lot of side effect on the environment like monoculture, reducing biodiversity and degrading soil health. So what your view on this topic?
Yes, that is true. It's not for consuming more plant-based products that we are contributing on we are not harmful to the environment. But if we think the production and if we look for the updated version of Right Mediterranean Pyramid, we see that the cost to the environment to produce cattle, to produce animal food products is much higher, much harmful than the plant-based products, of course. But we need to eat something. uh, the goal is to find and to develop new ways of produce being plant-based or animal-based foods to be less harmful to the environment. But of course, no plants are innocuous from that point of view to the environment. You are right. You are right. But compared with the cost to the environment, the emission of greenhouse gases related with the production and animal food, based food, it's preferable to
Yes,
consume
sir.
plant-based.
Thank you, sir.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, sir, we have one question from Seema Nair ma'am through YouTube. Just we received. Ma'am is asking about the current dietary guidelines of your country related to the sustainability and adequate nutrition. So, can you throw some light on that, please?
Yes. As we have already discussed here, in my country, we adopted the updated version of the pyramid, the Mediterranean diet pyramid. So we are teaching people, we are encouraging people to, as in the last question, eating more plant-based food, to put apart the animal food products, not to exclude. This is important, not to exclude, but intake very less. For example, than our predecessor generations made. Our parents, our grandparents have, at least in Portugal, a very different food pattern that we have nowadays. So the main the main message we are trying to pass to the population is to incorporate more fruits, more vegetables, and less meat. Red meat, special red meat. We have historical consumption of high amounts of red meat, and you have to decrease that. The salt consumption is another issue. I believe you here in India don't have that problem so much as we have in Portugal. As I have already mentioned yesterday, we have a very high consumption of salt. We don't use the spices. That's the reason why I told Dr. Teshpal, please don't put too much spices on my food because I'm not accustomed to it. Here in Portugal, we eat, for example, chicken with grilled chicken with salt, and that's all. With rice, and that's all. And no spices in the rice, no spices, but we add salt to the food, and this is very harmful. Another recommendation we are making to the populations is to utilize these spices, herbs, to salt substitutes. This is the main message: more plant-based products, less salt. And another thing is we use very much, not only in Portugal but in Mediterranean countries, oil. And olive oil, we say this is a very good grass, very good fat. But people forget that is a fat, and this it is not synonymous. We can eat the quantity we want, and much people eat a lot quantity of olive oil. For example, they use the bread similar to yours and with olive oil, just that. So the intake is also very high. So this is the main recommendations we have to the people. the most great challenge is to make the people be awareness to the implications to the environment, because people don't see that implications. They only see when go to the supermarket the price they pay for the foods, and if we have a food product with the double of the price of the other, and if I say no, but you will pay the double, but this is more sustainable, people say I don't care. I will not pay the double. I don't care is sustainable or not sustainable. I don't will pay the double for the same product, and this is not easy to make people change their options. And this is a long way, I believe, a long way,
Yes,
I
yes,
believe, to
correct.
change mentalities, change the routines, the habits. It is the most difficult thing. You can be here discussing this is good, this is not good, we should make another thing, but then go to the field and make this a reality for the whole community is quite complicated in most of the situations.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. You please have a seat.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
So thank you so much, Dr. Apso, for addressing all the questions with such clarity and depth. Your insights on how dietary guidelines differ across countries yet align towards common goals of health, nutrition, and sustainability were truly enlightening. So now, as we move towards the conclusion of day 2 of Gyan course, let's quickly recap today's proceedings. We begin the morning with a session of food security challenges in Europe in the context of the Russia Ukraine conflict, followed by a talk on sturgeon as an endangered delicacy, highlighting the intersection of conservation and food culture. Post lunch, we had a highly informative session by Professor Srimao Nayar on Nutrition Security 2030 and Viksit Bharat 2047, focusing on India's journey from food security to nutrition security. The day concluded with a stimulating discussion led by the Dr. Rapso, emphasizing how global dietary guidelines reflect cultural diversity and sustainability goals. It's truly been a long day full of learnings and exchange of ideas. Thank you very much to all of you for your active participation and enthusiasm. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow with more engaging sessions and discussions. Thank you and have a very wonderful evening. We will share tomorrow's session schedule via WhatsApp. Thank you very much.